Hello, good morning. My name is Teresa Amezcua, and I'm gonna talk to you about this great book. It's The Eye of the Storm. We have a class in Unity. Sue gave us a class. It was amazing, and I get in love with this book. Um, if you haven't read it, I recommend you to do it. And also, if you have the opportunity to assist to Sue's class, that's awesome. That's one of the gifts that we have at Unity. Um, this book talks about that no one is against you, and when you read the book, you're gonna notice that it's almost in every chapter. No one is against you, and excuse me, I kind of like have a awakening moment with this phrase because I didn't understand at first when I started reading the book, but then I was like, yeah, it makes sense. So I'm just gonna read part of the books that I really, really enjoy, and I just want to share with you. Uh, like I said, it says, no one is against you. The purpose of this book is to awake you to the truth that there is only one presence and one power at work in your life, and that is presence and power lives in you as a spirit of God. For these reasons, no one or nothing can be against you. To realize this is to claim your divine inheritance as a beloved creation of God. Isn't that beautiful? It takes it talks about awakening therapy too. This means that you might discover that fear is only possible when you don't feel connected to your sense of wholeness and worth, and when you don't see God in that situation. That's really beautiful too. What fear does is only reinforce your sense of separation. Have you think about that? I'm not. You know, um, like as a Hispanic, I feel like I'm separate for so many reasons. With some people, the way they think, the culture. But I never think that it was because I don't have God in that situation, in any situation. So it was like, wow, and that's true. Centering helps you to embrace difficult situations without becoming defensive or reactive. Um, I think that I'm kind of learn a little bit about this and kind of grow about this. But I remember when I was young, I was just reacting for any situation that I don't like. But it was like, or defensive, and I'm kind of like, now I look myself and probably I do sometimes, but not like often like before. Um, there is a story where the author is talking with a monk, and the monk says, can you see how everything that is for or against you has its roots within you? As you have learned, your wholeness can be found outside of you. And that's true. We cannot find our wholeness outside of us. Um, when we find ourselves victims of circumstances, we know our insecurities and self protection strategies are rooted in a deep sense of incompleteness. Wow. I told you it's a wow in every chapter. There is there is nothing in the universe that is against you or your purpose. Any experience you might have is evidence that your mind is rooted in separation and illusion. No one is against you. May your path be about proving this true, and you will discover what wholeness really is. And I know it's not easy, but I think with practice we can do that. Like try to see good in every situation. And then the next chapter is the eye of the storm. Wholeness is not outside of you, nor is separating for you. It is the essence of your true nature and spiritual identity. Wholeness is the foundation of your being. Nothing can oppose you. What arises as adversity in your life comes from within you. Person, situation, place, and my fear or separation. That's it is important that you know how we create resistance and tension in our life. It is important to see the relationship between thoughts of fear and lack and how they manifest themselves as experience, appearing as if someone or something is against you. And what I notice is that everything is in my mind, everything. And that makes me feel like if I think that someone is against me, where this thought starts here. And for something that someone say or do that I think is not good, or I have fear or whatever, but the truth is my enemies start here, um in there if there is a storm in your life, you can know that you and your wholeness are at the center of it. And later on it's going to talk about the center, and it's really really good. Life is all about mind and matter. I love this. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter, right? So I was like, yeah, that is true. I'm gonna repeat it again. Life is all about mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter, right? Our thoughts and feelings create mental and emotional states that influence how we relate or respond to what is happening. When we fill the gaps with our worst fears, we run the risk of creating our worst nightmares. Are you familiar with them? I am. Our point of view can change how we see the experience. There is the example in the book where if uh, he's talking about a traffic driver who cuts off him, and we can, if that happens to us, we can tell ourselves on a story that the driver is rude and inconsiderate and doing something bad to me. But what about the story is really that the driver is in a hurry because he's taking his pregnant wife to the hospital, and it's not about me at all. How will you change the perception of what has happened? And I don't know you, and this is kind of like a really common example. Like, but some people do things that I take it personal, and the truth is not about me, And I read, I think it was like a Don Miguel Ruiz book, and when I say don't take things personal, and he say something a little bit about the ego, that I take everything personal because I'm the center of the universe and everything happens to me, and that remind me that this chapter, no, I mean, no, things happen because they have different reason. But I mean, the driver doesn't know me. Probably he's driving the way he's driving because something is in his mind, but it's not because of me. He didn't know me, so it's kind of like weird, right? um Experience is personalized because we make it about us. We believe everything is happening to us. We need to shift our attention to a new, healthier point of view. Life is not happening to us, life is happening through us. Albert Einstein say, only those who can see the invisible can do the impossible. And like in the example, in the last example, if we think positive, or is we just don't think personal, for me is that I can see the invisible because I'm not sure what's going on. So, and I don't care, so it's is that what I believe, what I understand about what Albert Einstein tried to tell us, that only those who can see the invisible can do the impossible. Yeah, and the impossible is to be me, to calm down, to not take it personal. That's what I take for that, for Albert Einstein. And then the next chapter is talking about enemy mind. And if we feel like we have an enemy, we need to see the enemy as our mirror. I don't like that, but it's true. The personal situation is not against you, it is for you. It is there to teach you something. It is valuable because it offers you the opportunity to grow in awareness and discover your wholeness. Blessing your enemy helps you to dismantle the belief that your enemy is against you. Blessing your enemy allows you to reclaim, your power and dignity. You blessing is an affirmation that all things are working together for good. And what I was thinking about my enemies, I was thinking that who is my enemy, and I find out that it's only like a person that doesn't think like me, or don't do the things that I do, or what I think that is right. So or they have totally different point of view of life or whatever, and I think that is my enemy, but it's not. It's just and another situation is when you have something close that you think that is some do something against you. What I notice is that this person probably has pain, and that's the way that he is, and that's the way that react. So it's like, for me, I think that I probably grow a little bit about compassion, compassion for others, and but more compassion for me. um, and you don't lose anything by doing the right thing. It might not be as satisfying as proving someone else wrong, but the reward is much better. You feel so good. Um, yes, I don't know you, but a long time ago I was trying to, have the last word and be right. It doesn't matter if I lose my friends. Not anymore. I learned that the hard way, but I think if like doing the right thing is what it feels so good. Um, we need to see that your way is right for you. Excuse me, and my way is right for me. And I hear this from James, I believe, in one of his talks, and I keep it for me. And when I read it in this book, and I was like, yeah, that is true. What is what I mean, your way is right for you, and my way is right for me. When you pray for your enemies, you move your attention to your spiritual center where you can experience your oneness with God and your oneness with those who appear separate from you. It's not amazing? If you can truly see that your suffering and ills are consequences of not being connected to your wholeness and worth, you will dismantle your defensiveness, reactive lifestyle, and reveal a conscious connection to the energy of spirit. Excuse me, I'm not sure what's going on with my throat. Let me just get a little bit of water. Sorry about that. Mm. When I was reading this paragraph, and it say that if you can truly see that your suffering and ills are consequences of not being connected with your wholeness in your world worth, you will dismantle your defensive reacting lifestyles and reveal a consciousness connection to the energy of spirit. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about I met this lady, and she was paralyzed from one eye or something. I don't remember, but it was something in her face. And she was telling me that this happens to her because she was really mad of some friend or because of money, or and when I was reading this book, I was thinking, yeah, that is true. If you don't accept the situation, if you feel that the person is your enemy, or you're thinking horrible things about that person, of course you're gonna get sick. And she said that that happens after she was really mad at her, and they have this discussion, and after that she got her eye paralyzed, excuse me, and now she's taking therapy and things like that. And I was like, wow. And like her, that's a lot of other things that can happen. Like for me, when I get mad, my stomach start hurting, and I get nervous, or when I'm stressed, it's everything about my stomach. So when I feel that, I know that I have to pay attention to something, that I fear it or whatever. But yeah, I truly believe that we can heal ourselves with just negative thoughts. The truth is that the truth is that with God, all things are possible. And then the book talks about making friends with your conflict. And then to make friends with your conflict, sometimes moves change in how we see the situation and what you make it mean. The first step is making friends with conflict and understanding what conflict is. The energy of conflict can be directed into positive avenues of understanding, healing, and a spiritual growth. And that's what I think that a lot of people is becoming healed, because when we have this understanding, all events and relationship have their origins in the interaction of two opposite but complementary forces, yin and yang. The spirit is the center. At the center, there is harmony, balance, peace, serenity, and wholeness. I love that. In the realm of spirit, each of us is connected because there is only one spirit. Our spirit is never in any opposition to any other spirit because we are only one. Isn't that so beautiful? Do you test your friendship by speaking your mind? You can really see how conflict is connected to issues of authenticity when you look at the ways you might have compromised your own principle to please someone else or to not please someone. God needs you to be who you really are, because who you are is what makes you real. Your likes and dislikes, your needs and desires, and your hopes and dreams all plays into the God effectively works through you to be present in your life and the life of those you touch. And when I was reading this part, I think I talked to you about this before, but I have at first like a hard time being me and talk about what I believe and in my feelings. I just try to be most of the time quiet and just listening or analyzing other people so I can judge them later. No, I'm just kidding. But I have this experience, like since I get here in Missouri, I have several jobs, and I noticed that in this particular job, um, I understand what got me to be there, because in that job I learned to talk about what I really feel, and what I was not, you know if I was not happy with what they say about other people, and um, it took me a while. I lose the job, but I'm so happy because after that happens, I was talking to one of the teachers in the School of Metaphysics, and he was explaining to me about the energy, right? And then how I try to be there, but I can't, because my energy is not that it's better or worse than anybody energy. It's just that you're not in that energy, you're not in that frequency. But that teach me to stand for what I believe, and it's me, and it's valuable, right? If and this is me, and if they think that this is bad, or whatever, it's for them, so, and I really really appreciate now that, when things happen and I don't understand at that moment, that is because I need to grow, and I need to learn from that situation. And believe me, you bless the moment after all, because you learn. um Making someone wrong damages your relationship with a person, and it creates conflict. Outer resistance not only teach you how people perceive you, it helps make you stronger and more flexible and willing to look at life and people differently. Um, and it's just a little bit about what I talked to you. I feel free now. I feel free. I mean, I don't want, to anybody to think like me, but I mean, I stand for what I think is right, and I'm proud of that. The important point to see about resistance is that it arises within me, within you, while it appears to be triggered by external condition. Resistance surfaces from within and keeps you from being present at that moment. Um, and this chapter is really interesting. It talks about the four winds of conflict, and it talks about separation, misperception, competition, and defensiveness. And let's talk about a little bit about separation. We understand that conflict in our life is evidence of not being full present or authentic in a particular situation or relationship, the sense of separation. We are young. Most of us are never, sorry, I need to go back. When we are young, most of us are never told that we are a child of God. So we are not able to know ourselves as wholeness and perfect. The sense of separation we feel between ourselves and others, and in life in general, is an effect of being born into an imperfect caregiver environment. And, I think we talk about this too, is like parents that is not their fault, because that's only what they have. And for me it was religion, like I was a sinner and I was really bad, but that helped me to feel separate a lot, believe me. That's what I love unity, because it's kind of like the opposite. Right here, we learned that we are one and we're good, no matter what. And so I love that part. To manage this imperfect world, you learn to separate yourself from experience, from others, from yourself, and from God. You move from being connected to being separate, and then to being codependent. I don't know if that happens to you, but that happens to me. When you need someone else to be the certain way in order for you to feel okay about yourself, you are codependent. Sorry, but that's true. You learn how to manipulate and control people in situation in order to manage your fears. I experienced that. Needing someone assistant is not I'm sorry, needing someone assistant or supporting is not codependence. Now we can ask the question, does controlling others, needing to be right, or avoiding conflict really work for me? No. I have a big no. When we are unable to experience communion with the self, with others, or with life circumstance, generally we are unable to experience the presence of God. Separation supports conflict because separation keeps you from experiencing God in yourself and others and in life overall. Interesting, right? When we talk about separation, now we're going to talk about misperception. Our capacity to currently read a situation is influenced by how we see things, how we hear what is being said, and how okay we feel about ourselves. Yeah, self esteem, that's so true. When you feel unsafe in a particular situation and investigate where that feeling of unsafe comes from, you will discover that this feeling is linked to how you perceive your experience. There must be a distinction drawn between what the real problem are and what has become a problem because a misperception. Well, and like I always say, when I feel this, I try to see the whole picture. It's not easy, but if you extend your vision and try to see the whole big picture, then probably you're gonna find out why you feel like that. Well, that's happened to me. Um, competition. Competition, when people experience difficulty in getting what they need and what out of the relationship, they might distance themselves from their partners. If clear and open channels of communication are absent, people will become defensive and endeavor to gain the advantage by getting evidence to support their positions. Because I was thinking about, that is true. For me, I don't know if it happens to you, but when you think, that, for example, that happens to me when I was married to Tanya's dad, and I always think that he doesn't love me, and I look for reasons. Oh yeah, he doesn't love me because this. Oh, he doesn't love me because of that. And I make his life miserable, and I make my life miserable too, right? And but yeah, I remember that, or when other situations, that in this particular place this happened, and then I look for reasons to know that that's true, and the truth is no. That's because I feel that bad. As conflict escalates, people become competitive and motivated to win or to be right. um, I don't know, that happens to you. The danger of competition in relationship is that someone must eventually lose. The lose becomes diminished, angry, and resentful. The winner loses as well because the reward of being right is reinforced of one's inferiority. And I don't, do you that happens to you? and it feels so bad. I don't know if it feels so bad for me to be right with a friend, or to be right with my ex-husband, or to, like, I'm the one that is right, but at the end, I feel miserable, and I don't think it's nice. This is unfortunate because the purpose of relationship is to be the source of support and empowerment. That's so true. And it talks about defensiveness. Defensiveness implies the presence of an adversary. Defensiveness is linked to the fight or flight response. This primitive survival tactic plays out in our daily lives. Some people react aggressively toward a perceived threat. Their defensiveness leads them to take primitive measures. Defensiveness is an evidence of separation. If in the instant someone judges you, you react by trying to disprove the accusation or by defending yourself. The judgment and criticisms are indicators of missing pieces, signals alerting partners that the relationship needs attention. Don't miss the opportunity to respond authentically to the invitation to create communion. And then in the book talks about that. I think his wife is telling him that you never take me to eat out, things like that. And then he said that his first response, it was trying to, oh really, and have all these lists of restaurants and dates, and that they were together out, and but then he changed, her thoughts, and he say no, what she really needs is attention, right? And so it's really interesting because now when somebody is telling you that, oh, you don't do this for me, or you don't do that for me, or you never visit me, or you never come, or you never call me, or whatever, is that they don't want to judge you. It's just that they want your attention. We need love, but sometimes we don't know how to ask for it. And for me it was like a waking moment, because my mom sometimes tell me that, or my daughter Tanya, and I was like, that's true. They love me and they want me with them. They want attention, they want to be out with me. So it's like, um that's so beautiful, instead of react and fight back, oh, that's not true, blah blah blah, because that was me before. But now that I kind of try to, not with them but with everybody, if they say something, or some of my friends tell me, something like that, I completely understand that what they want is your attention, your time, so that's kind of beautiful. And then say you have only one relationship, your relationship with God. The objective to this is to experience with God in life, in others, and in you. So I think that's so beautiful too. The truth regarding every judgment is that not judgment is about you. It's about the person who is doing the judging. Learn to value judgment and criticism as opportunity to live from your wholeness and worth. Judgment is not about you. They are for you. That's really, really nice. And again, this is see it right, not make it right. And again, no one is against you. Principle is another way of describing the nature of the universe. It's order and intelligence. It's another word for God. And Misperceptions occur when seeing is believing, which is what we call judgment, or when believing is seeing, which is what we call blind faith. All human perception is incomplete and is therefore misperception at the moment when we say that is it. Faith is the avenue of awareness that sees God in every situation. Love is the avenue of awareness that sees our oneness and connection to all life. Um, Living on purpose. Purpose is the universe intention to be present of God through you. You exist because of purpose. Your wholeness and worth are round solely in the expression of God's presence through you, and how that looks in any given moment is best described as being the way, the truth, and the life of God. You are either the way of God or you are in the way of God. If you are judging, blaming, fearful, dishonest, and so on, you are likely in the way of God. And that could be dangerous to our health. The love that you feel for a child, a pet, or a person is simple being the way of God's love. Whenever you are allowing God to move through you, you are the way of God. Um, Most of the time I live in the way of God, but now I'm learning to live um, with God. Okay, when you are in the way of God, when you are the way of God, you experience the abundance life. You are the way of God when you love unconditionally and accept people as they are. This is a sense of being the way of God. The way of God. It is your job to be a witness to the truth of God. When you see God in every situation, you are being the truth of God, knowing that who the truth frees those who are touched by the situation, because an awareness God's presence brings inner peace and awakening. Another blessing is to challenge comes as you bring the situation the life of God. You are the life of God. You can free yourself of completing intention the instant you remember your purpose. Your real purpose is not about getting your way or about being right. When you shift into being the way, the truth, and the life of God, something outer change. You discover no one is against you, that all things